materials involved in creating it, the technique, the balance.
It's more like the nose of a fighter jet.
Well, it all comes together. Maybe you can actually make that connection. What is it about this angular thing that recurs so much in our imagery and design? See, all that just from a mask, and all of it can be very sincere. So you got to take stock though. Take stock though. Don't be stark. Do not go starkers on a YouTube video. Pro tip. So one of the first things is to say what kind of editing do I have. Now, again, this is where I'm going to show my age. Back in my day, we didn't have any of those fancy editing programs. iTunes and Windows Movie Maker. I say. Why did I just turn southern? I'm not doing it right. But it's true that a lot of computers come with a default editing program. Dr. Wolf, who is here at the convention and not here in this room, I don't think I'm not going to lord that over. He still edits all his videos on iMovie. Nothing else, nothing really super fancy, iMovie. And it works really well. You have art resources. This is from Patty B Creations, who did an entire video on the, I can't recall if it's 5 or 7 recurring shapes in My Little Pony. The horseshoes, the squiggles, flowers, hearts, green clothes, purple horseshoes, blue diamonds. Oh my god, I'm listening to My Little Pony and Lucky Charms. But here that she created a Dalek in My Little Pony. And does it kind of look like you can see this in the show? I can see this thing going through Ponyville. Socialize. Patty B drew this by hand and scanned it into the computer and found a way to animate it. Didn't have a huge graphics program. I think this is colored pencil or marker. I think it may be marker. But hand drawn and a scanner. Those are your resources. What do you have on hand? And it's kind of funny how technology has creeped into our lives where it's not as we're not as bare bottom, rock bottom resources as we might have had once before. What about cameras? This can be a little confusing. This is the camera on top of my MacBook there. And again, there's a camera. It's built into our computers. It's sometimes even a default. Okay, fine, I sold my soul to Apple, don't judge me. As you should. Yeah, you should judge me. The dongles? Oh yes, that was a moment of insanity, wasn't it? But, well, in any case, we all have a camera nearby. You have a camera on your phone. Indeed, I'm being recorded on someone's camera. Boy, you should see some of the things I recorded on my camera this week. Mitch Larson smeared marshmallow fluff on my head at the end of Hoops Linus anyway. So a friend recorded me going to the other reviewers and asking, would you like to clean my forehead? Look for that on my YouTube channel, and probably for me to have a lot fewer friends in the next few days. Okay, so you've got cameras. But how do you want to bring this all together? This is one of the, it's funny, there's an education tool no matter what you feel. If you really like something, watch people who do it well and learn from them. Doesn't matter what it is. If you like writing, read from your favorite authors, right? Read from authors who come from great acclaim. If you like artists, study their work. Find out what it is about their work that you like. If you want to make YouTube videos, YouTube videos that you enjoy. In my case, I really enjoy the Neebs Gaming channel. Who here has seen Neebs Gaming? Who here has seen their Subnautica series? This is, I would actually hold up because while it might not seem like something that I relate to my own videos, as I don't do gaming, but they do a lot of fun things that I think really strengthen their presentation. Basic points. But what makes them stand out? Well, let's look at the clip from Subnautica. For those who don't know, it is a video game survival, not quite horror, but definitely survival, where you are stranded on an ocean planet and have to make do while just about everything wants to kill you.
The Aurora is down. The Aurora is down. It does not look good. Say no on that. Definitely not. Yeah, it's done. Yeah, I know how expensive it was. What am I supposed to do? I wasn't driving it.
Right? Okay, so let's go through this. What is it about that clip that I love so much? First and foremost, what's happening in that clip? This is a game where you are the only human on the planet. The only alive one, at least. And yet, who's he talking to? Well, they found the game within the game. Extra layer to make it more interesting. The survivor is not necessarily, he's alone physically on the planet, but he's talking with tech support. Now, if you want to take a hopeless situation and make it worse, throw in tech support.
Especially with Simon.
Oh. So, right there, game within the game, something more to look into, something to maybe play with a little. And when I review My Little Pony, I like to see if I can twist it a little, find the game within the game, find something that is just a little silly, an alternate twist. I'm going to be reviewing Sparkle 7 next. And there's a big question I have for that. What is it about heist movies we enjoy so much? Well, here's a great episode to talk about it. Because they were conducting a heist, and that's not a spoiler. If you haven't seen Sparkle 7 by now, I'm sorry. But I suggest stupidity here. Can you adapt that flat-out copy? Well, obviously I'm not going to blow up a spaceship while I'm on override. But here's the thing. Can I copy this? Well, I love the editing. Is the Aurora salvageable? Ooh, no. It's that great, really punchy editing that drives home the point. It's not just the simple back and forth. It's interrupting and kind of shocking the watcher, so they never get lulled. They lull, but there's no lulling. I know internet speech. I'm hip. And then there's also just the emotion they put into it. One of the things I really love is when the main character is coming in and out of the survival pod, you can hear an echo in his voice, a little tinny reverb. That means he's in a small, enclosed metallic space. When he gets out of the pod, his voice clears and it's like he's speaking in the grand open. It immerses you in a fictional world because you're hearing the effect of the environment on the speaker. That's something I can do in my videos. If my character's in a cave, I can add a reverb. If he's got a bucket over his head, I can put a bucket over my head and hope I don't bounce into the microphone. You can have a way to immerse people just by applying some filters and asking, how did someone like Needs Gaming do it? But this is also tricky. Can you adapt without flat-out copy? I think there is a very legitimate critique against Brony YouTubers in particular that we love to copy and lift jokes from other shows. And for a while it's like, hey, I got that reference. Well, that is a battle we'll get to, but that's a doom word indeed. But at some point, it's the question of, okay, I know you watch the same stuff I do, I know you like that, you enjoy those jokes that I do, but I'm hearing you quote other people, how many jokes are you doing on your own? Main problem, it depends on how it's approached and what we do with it. Yep, we do quote a lot of jokes from other folks. Oh, and I make rhymes. I drop 6 beats. There you go. And yet I'm still way too tasty for this. But that's also a challenge. If you feel that's a weakness, then you can ask, what can we do to improve it? What can we do to strengthen it? Part of the fun was, who here saw Great Scott This Is Heavy, where Melissa and I got super points in Flash? I loved becoming that Angry Bird, not because I want to reference Angry Birds, but that screen build-up with an instant letdown. I wasn't trying to copy that from anyone else. I just wanted to startle the audience. I think it works.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So, but it is a legitimate critique. It is a legitimate concern. It's something to be watchful for. For which to be watchful. English is important. Sound is also critical. I'm gonna put this out there. One, do not use your computer mic. They're always bad. They catch the room ambiance, they just sound terrible, it's low quality, it's tinny, it's just bad.
What if you're making a video about somebody making a video that's bad?
Then you are being meta as can be, and I salute you. But well, that is a thing though. But now you're doing it by intent. You're aware of the weakness and are working with it. You're adapting to it. I used to put the idea that if you had bad audio, is worse than bad video. Because what you can do electrics to get around bad video, there's very little to do to get around bad audio. Now there are always exceptions. Case in point, the summarization signal. What the heck? There's no recording in that. That's all generated from a text-to-speech program. What the hey, what the hey, what the hey. And you don't know what I'm saying because they made that very legendary. So you can get around even bad audio if you're innovative, if you go outside the expectation. But I will say, it's really hard to get a long-going steady series using a computer mic. This is the microphone I used at first. I don't even know if I want to try right next with this. Sennheiser E815, 835. It's a condenser mic. It's a condenser mic, very similar to what I'm holding in my hand right now. But there's a problem. Unless you have a very customized computer, it's not going to go in because it uses an RCA plug. It's 3 prongs. It's this really thing. It's attached to the microphones there on the stage. That cable will not go into your average computer. Instead, the Tascam created this digital converter. It takes the signal from the mic, converts it into a digital signal, and sends it out through a USB port. And if XLR, man, I said RCA, didn't I? I said if you plug a remote control car into this thing. XLR, not bad, but thank you. And you know, you can control how much of the input you want input or output to be emphasized. You can make it louder. You can play with this, and it's important because every voice is different, and you're going to have to customize. I got a little piece of white chalk, and I marked off where I wanted the inputs to be, depending on what microphone I'm using with this. I still use this to this very day. It's lasted since 2006. Yeah. It's a sturdy rock. And when it eventually does give out, as everything does, wood to knock on, I'm in trouble now. You will hear the profanity on the horizon, I promise you. But then eventually I wanted to try something different, so I got a Blue Yeti. This is a microphone that has a USB built right in. It goes right in your computer, plug, done. You can still control the input through the control panel on your computer, so you're not without customization options. But I thought this would be easier, and it was. It was a much higher quality microphone than the one I've been using. But there's a problem. You see, the microphone is powered through the USB line that is also sending the signal out. You have energy flowing through a signal. What do you get? Yes. Noise. It's a very subtle hiss. If you record it, you just let yourself sit in silence and you play it back, and that gets distracting. So you can edit that out. We'll talk about some audio editing programs. But that was a problem. And I thought, you know what? If I'm adding another problem, maybe it's time for another solution. So I went with this for a good while, and thanks to support from folks on Patreon, I managed to get a new condenser mic, much more powerful. But it was so, it needed its own sound box. Thank you. His own sound box. So again, I found myself once again taking the XLR cable. The sound box is going into that Tascam converter to my computer once again, but there's no hiss now. And because it's a higher quality, powerful mic, I have a much clearer voice. I'm always chasing better sound. I always want to be a healthy dissatisfaction. You always want to be better. If you start resting on your laurels, you might be in trouble. Yes? Let's see here. Man, I have to get right up against this thing to double check. Yeah, this is the Rhodes NT1A. Rode Audio. They're very big. They especially focus in microphones. You can buy shotgun microphones for your cameras at like a Best Buy, and they're by Rode. Sound editing also critical. When I started, I had GarageBand. It comes with every Mac. But it's also pretty basic. What it did was help me remove the noise. You can see the hiss. You can say, hey, computer, this section here is pure noise. I want you to find it, the whole file, and remove it. Takes a little processing, but the computer will do it. But here's the problem. It also may slice off a little bit of your own audio, make your voice sound just a little different. Someone today said, you're not using this as an accent, you're using your videos. I have an accent? No, I mean, I'm from Colorado. When was the last time anyone said, oh, that guy's clearly from Colorado, listen to that Colorado accent? I mean, the only Colorado accent I know is, ew. Oh, wait, family show, sorry. So, I upgraded. There's a free program out there called Audacity. We got some Audacity fans here. When people go, woo, computer program, that's worth more an endorsement than any other professional review. CNET, convention people going, woo, that's the money. So yeah, this was a much more powerful, much more dynamic program, and I went on YouTube and found some tutorials on how to spice up your audio. Maybe boost your bass a little, or remove some of the choppy parts. Again, YouTube is self-sustained at this point. You can find YouTube videos on how to YouTube video. Or you can come talk to me, I appreciate that. But nowadays, I've gone to the Adobe Creative Suite with Adobe Audition, and this is what I've been using for especially a lot of the effects I use. When I speed things up to talk about Luna, that's playing within this. Silver Quill was created by playing with filters on this thing. It's remarkably powerful. Especially right here, you can layer effects on top of one another and go back and change the settings. Whereas Audacity is kind of like a bicycle shape. You have to handle each link, and if you want to go back and fix one thing, you have to undo all of this. But with increased options and flexibility comes greater complexity. I recommend you start small and work your way up, and it feels like a more gradual process. It also means that you see your own growth in technical sense. What an on-screen presence. Okay. Well, this is hot, and I don't just mean attractive. I'm balmy here. Don't you in me, young sailor. You know you want one. I won a victory over a person I only just met. Thank you, good sir. But here's the thing. An OC, it's not mandatory. When I started, pretty much every reviewer had some manner of OC on the corner and the video. I went with that formula. You don't have to. Oh, Golden Fox, who also has a YouTube channel. Golden, give me a stand up here. Let's have a salute. Golden doesn't just have an on-screen presence with his OC. He animated an entire intro for his OC.
Oh, yeah. That took a while.
How long is a while?
Several months.
That's dedication.
Because I think I don't use it.
He made his own. What did you make it in your watch band?
Reaper. It's a RAW recording audio workstation or something like that.
We also got the panel woo, so there's an endorsement. So I guess they're saying don't fear the Reaper. And yet I don't. Oh, I'll tell him. I'll tell him. Now,
Anyway, the conflict starts to creep its way in because Twilight's trying to follow the school board rules to get this place accredited. But once again, this is a school for friendship, and as many of us have been saying ever since Twilight started mentoring Starlight, you can't teach friendship out of a textbook. Think about it. The first time you become friends with someone, it's usually because you're talking about or doing something you both enjoy. In other words, having fun is kind of a requirement if you want to make a connection with someone. And unless you're Twilight, the typical school model of sit down, shut up, and be lectured at all day is fundamentally incompatible with that goal.
and Golden Fox called it. That was from the YouTuber Strebiscott, one of the Brony reviewers I watched early on, which in fact had an impact on how I want to make videos. And he's just using clips from the show. Good editing because One of my teachers in college had a good saying for it. Say dog, see dog. If you're talking about something, you need to show it on screen. Some folks try to make jokes by having like a person wearing a shrimp suit. We'll talk about a bizarre topic. Does anyone know who I'm talking about? Who am I talking about? You got it, Jim Sterling. He likes to do that, and I understand why he does it for humor, but I think it doesn't really, I think it can actually undermine your point. So that's a creative difference right there. But he's not relying on an OC, he's not relying on anything other than the episode that he's talking about, and the topic of Twilight and the philosophy of teaching friendship. But I'm not crazy about his audio quality. It sounds muffled. That may be a limitation of my computer and taking this clip off YouTube, but I think his videos would increase in quality if he invested in a stronger mic and maybe a little bit more audio processing. Yes?
Okay, I just want to add something.
Anybody who decides to start, the first thing you should do is just get it out there. Don't worry too much about the quality of what your hardware is. You can eventually, I guarantee you, you'll get it later on. I had to start off with an iPod to record for my movie reviews back in like 2009 or 2010. And you'll get your way up there.
It's very true. Like I said, you take stock of what you have and you work with it and you build up from there. But again, like I said, he started from there, he's working on it, but that would be a tip I'd want to offer for the next stage. What about a real life presence? Chris Tuckman, he does a lot of reviews, and they're very direct, swift reviews. It's him talking about the movie. He doesn't even edit himself that much, except maybe a few quick take differences. But the care he exhibits in setting up the shot is wonderful. You have, first off, some figures in the back that are easily recognizable within the movie franchise. But the real draw is these lighted movie shelves, all Blu-rays, all pointing in a V formation back to him. He is the center of the shot, he is the attention. He's saying, hey folks, my eyes are up here. And it works. You keep it interesting. It's visually drawing, it's leading. It's not intensive, but it's evolving. What about Ben at the Sage? Now he takes things a little different. He is off center. He's on the left side of the screen. But notice that his anime collection is leading you visually back because the shelves are pointing back towards him. You're not distracted because the wall is just a blank square. It's not that interesting, so it's not pulling your eyes away. So in a weird sense, part of the shot is drawing you to the left, part of it is acting as a hard stop, saying this is where your eye needs to be. When I was looking for information on setting up a server, something I'm toying with for down the line, there was a YouTuber who sat with a white shirt in a white room with black monitors behind him. Just a freestanding computer. And it was such a boring shot for me because it's like you're fading into the background and the contrast is making the screen stand out. I'd rather look at inanimate objects than the speaker. That's a problem. Now, what about Jeremy Johns? Because let's face it, look at him. I want that hair. I want any hair. And I want that beard. Actually, wait. I'd like your beard too. Okay, do I look smart when I do this? Now imagine if I had a bit. Okay, sir, would you mind standing up? Yes! This is the image of intelligence right here. This man is pondering. I want that beard. But basically, you want to clean your room because there's no distraction. He's in front of a green screen. That doesn't look quite so involving, does it? There you go. 1, 2. 1, 2. He's just set up a green screen. I don't know what studio is in. It's obviously well put together because there's no echo. Indeed it could. As long as you keep the... Okay. Pardon me 1 sec as I clap. Hear that echo? Good, because I can't feel my hands. That's because we're in a room with very flat surfaces made of hard material. The sound bounces off and lowers the quality. But if you were to, say, put up just hang some drapes maybe, put a lot of padding around, Matt, the Game Theorist records in his closet, where the clothing acts as a natural absorbent. Some people do record their audio in the bedroom. They put a towel over the mic to catch more of the audio. I actually advised the Keyframe do that when we did our first collab together, and she was working with just the mic off her iPad.
Yeah, now, in our apartment, we use the closet all the time for anything recording.
What couples do on their own is their business. Yes.
At TechoCon this year, I met someone, or this may have been last year, I don't know, but he was an anime fan dubber for anime. He showed us his rig. He took one of those like portable, like you know the cloth drawers that you can pull out of the shelf.
Yeah.
He took that, flipped it on its side, put in audio-proof padding through the Yeti in there, and we tested it in the room. Clear as crap audio.
I'm not sure your simile works.
No, it doesn't, but stop.
Okay, we're not going to talk more about that stuff. Thank you very much. I went before the panel. Thank you. Please, everyone. Everyone, this is BronyCon.
Now look, I know my audio isn't always the greatest when I put my videos out there. Half the time I sound like I'm talking through a cardboard tube. But the thing is, if you are trying to get into voice acting, there is actually a real budget way to get through this. All you gotta do is go to Hobby Lobby, find a cardboard box, and just put it around, and just basically put like a bunch of creative foam and stuff like that into the box, and put your microphone in there. And that's a really good low budget way to do some really decent audio balancing and that thing, so you don't get any echoes.
Exactly right. I did the same thing with Tupperware and comforter padding.
What if I hook up underneath?
It is, although I really shouldn't have tried to record so soon after I used the spray-on adhesive. I was high as a kite. I appreciate that if we talk about everyone's audio setups, I'm concerned we'll run out of time. I'd like to follow up once we're in the Q&A section.
Are you sure it was the adhesive?
Maybe.
What do you think the volunteer way?
Again, remember people, I have a Coloradan accent. Now, video editing.